One Woman's Memories. There are 3 portraits of Jesus in Louise's home. In all of them, Jesus' gaze is both sincere and unspecific. It evokes whatever the onlooker needs it to, but always with deep seriousness. Today, his gaze reflects Louise's somberness. Because it feels good to have one's emotions acknowledged without judgment, she hasn't taken down the portraits. Jesus represents for her a force in the world that nourishes, like motherhood. To be a mother is to represent for someone else life as an abstract quality. Louise isn't a practicing Catholic, but she does believe in heaven and in suffering's transmutability. Louise might say that suffering doesn't exist for the sake of itself. People suffer in order to keep living, to figure out how to live differently. She wouldn't use the word suffering, however. She would name it something more identifiable, like headache, or fatigue, or joint pain, or, more ambiguously, the past. Louise tends to treat the past with ambivalence, as if it were an empty house she wanders through but won't drag furniture inside of. And yet the walls of her home are cluttered with photographs of her parents and siblings and late husband, and especially her son, Paul, tracing his childhood to the near present. A photograph represents the past without bringing it to life. A photograph gives shape to history. It allows us to fashion a landscape of feeling, suppressing whatever other emotional detail is ungovernable. A photograph is a ladder that goes backward in time, a ladder we can push away whenever we want. With photographs, we can obscure the past as much as illuminate it. This afternoon, the house is silent and cold. Louise sits on a floral patterned couch beside a telephone, its receiver gray and hard and unattractive in the way all new technology seems ugly to her. When she dials Paul, she doesn't have to think about his number. It exists inside her like a heartbeat. Every time they speak, she's struck by how close his voice sounds, as though he's across a room and not hundreds of kilometers away. As the phone rings, Louise considers leaving a voicemail, but decides against it. She hangs up and looks over at Jesus again. It is winter, and she is lonely. The past swells around her in all its glistening clarity. Against her nature, she wants to discuss, with Paul, the events of her life. It's a new urge. She has lived through so much, and yet has discussed so little about that living. A new century has begun, and she still feels like part of the preceding one. She belongs to the 20th century, is indivisible from it. However long she lives, however greatly the world changes, that fact remains.